the hidden financial war behind World War I. Picture this. While millions died in muddy trenches, another war was raging behind closed doors. A war fought not with bullets, but with bonds. Not with artillery, but with accounting. And the weapons used in this hidden conflict? Gold reserves, printing presses, and promises that were never meant to be kept. This is the story of how World War I broke the global financial system, and why you're still living with the consequences. The illusion shatters. August 1914. Europe's going to war, and everyone thinks it'll be over by Christmas. Quick, clean, paid for with gold and patriotic donations. Reality had other plans. Within weeks, the money was evaporating. Germany was burning through 10 million marks every single day. Britain, £2.5 million daily. These weren't just big numbers, they were impossible numbers. Here's where it gets interesting. Every major power in Europe operated on the gold standard. Your paper money? It was supposed to be backed by actual gold sitting in vaults. This wasn't just tradition, it was the foundation of trust itself. But gold doesn't multiply. And when you're fielding millions of soldiers and converting factories into weapons plants, you need money that does multiply. So governments did something extraordinary. They broke their promise. One by one, they suspended the gold standard. Your currency was no longer backed by metal. It was backed by nothing more than faith in the government. Think about that moment. The entire financial system of the Western world just changed the rules. Mid-game. And once they tasted that freedom, they never gave it back. Germany's pyramid scheme. Cut off from global markets and strangled by a British blockade, Germany had one option: convince its own people to fund the war. The propaganda machine went into overdrive. Posters everywhere showing heroic soldiers. Newspapers guilting families into buying war bonds. Sacrifice your savings for the fatherland. Victory is certain. You'll be repaid with interest. Germans poured over 100 billion marks into these bonds. Grandmothers, shopkeepers, factory workers, they handed over their life savings. When Germany lost, those bonds became wallpaper. Literally worthless. Millions of ordinary Germans watched their entire futures evaporate. That rage, that betrayal, that economic devastation, it didn't just disappear. It festered. And when a failed Austrian painter started giving speeches about restoring German greatness, well, that ground was already fertile. Economic trauma always leaves scars. Always. America smells blood in the water. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, American bankers saw opportunity. The U.S. was officially neutral, but neutrality has never stopped money from flowing. J.P. Morgan and Company became Britain and France's lifeline, arranging massive loans, managing arms purchases, basically bankrolling the Allied war effort. This wasn't charity. This was the transfer of global power happening in real time. In 1914, America was a debtor nation. By 1918, the United States held the world's largest gold reserves and was the biggest creditor on the planet. Wall Street displaced the city of London as the financial capital of the world, not through conquest, but through loans. The American century didn't begin on the beaches of Normandy. It began in the ledgers of New York banks during World War I. The debt trap snaps shut. When the guns finally stopped in 1918, the real nightmare began. Britain owed America over $4 billion. France owed more than $3 billion. And everyone wanted Germany to pay for it all through reparations, 132 billion gold marks to be exact. But here's the problem with debt spirals. They spiral. Britain and France needed Germany to pay so they could repay America. Germany needed to print money to pay Britain and France. The more they printed, the more the currency collapsed. By 1923, Germans were carrying wheelbarrows of cash just to buy bread. A postage stamp cost billions of marks. This wasn't incompetence. This was the inevitable mathematics of impossible debt. And what did Britain do? Tried to restore the pound to its pre-war value in 1925, as if you could wish away economic devastation through monetary policy. Winston Churchill himself championed this decision, and it's now remembered as one of the worst financial mistakes in modern history. The result? Deflation, mass unemployment, and social unrest. The wealthy protected themselves by moving assets abroad. The working class suffered. As always, the merry-go-round of madness. By the mid-1920s, the global financial system had become a circus. American banks lent money to Germany. Germany used it to pay reparations to Britain and France. Britain and France used it to repay America. Around and around the money went. The Dawes Plan, the Young Plan, these weren't solutions. They were elaborate mechanisms to keep a fundamentally broken system spinning. And when the music stopped in 1929, the entire world economy collapsed. Because that's what happens when you build a financial system on circular logic and borrowed time. Why this matters to you right now? Still think this is just history? Every time a central bank says inflation is transitory, remember 1914. Every time governments raise debt ceilings, just this once, remember the war bonds. Every time you're told the system is fundamentally sound, remember that they said the exact same thing right before currencies became worthless. The playbook hasn't changed. Suspend the rules during crisis. Print money to cover the present. Borrow against the future. Wrap it all in patriotic language and solemn promises. And when it falls apart, the ordinary saver bleeds first. The middle class gets wiped out. The elites, who saw it coming because they always see it coming, have already moved their wealth to safety. This pattern has repeated through the Great Depression, through the stagflation of the 1970s, through 2008, through every major financial crisis since. The faces change. The technology changes. The fundamental con remains identical. The only lesson that matters. World War I proved something terrifying. Money, once untethered from reality, becomes a tool of control. Governments discovered they could finance anything. Wars, bailouts, entire economic collapses, and make you pay for it through inflation, taxation, and the slow erosion of your purchasing power. Your paycheck shrinks while they print. Your savings lose value while they borrow. And they'll tell you it's necessary, it's temporary, it's for the greater good. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And right now, it's rhyming louder than it has in decades. What you can actually do. Real wealth isn't numbers in a bank account backed by promises. Real wealth is understanding how the game works. It's knowledge that can't be inflated away. It's assets that hold value when currencies collapse. It's the ability to see through the propaganda and protect yourself before the inevitable happens. Because it always happens. The only question is whether you'll see it coming. The financial war behind World War I never really ended. It just evolved. And the next chapter? It's being written right now, with you in it. The question is, are you going to be the one holding worthless bonds, or the one who understood the game? History has the answers. You just need to know where to look.